Many horror games display themselves in a unique way, whether it be the characters, atmosphere, or just the story. In recent games like No I'm Not a Human, you can see this by the way the characters are displayed. Fairly odd, with a constant uncertainty for the player mixed with a closed-in environment. Or Darkwood, where from the beginning you are put under stress for survival with no help in fair sight. Or even games like the Fears of Adam series we covered up recently, where everything is based on real events. Today, we take a look at the Chillas Art Games. Chillas Art is a horror game studio made by only two brothers, and they make this retro-style horror games that from the atmosphere to the aesthetic of the characters already stick out of the mass. Because there is a lot of games in this franchise, I'll represent to you my 5 favorite ones, which in my opinion all cover up some certain aspect when it comes to horror games. Quick content warning, because there are some games that contain stalking, assault, or disturbing but blurred imagery. Without further ado, thanks for watching and enjoy the video. By the way, I spent like 20 hours making this video, so if you enjoy, just like and subscribe. Thank you!
もうこんな時間？帰らなくちゃ。
You play as a young schoolgirl who expresses that she just wants to get home. As you walk down the street, there's this odd feeling of emptiness. The atmosphere of the game from the start is unique, and even though it's still bright outside, you can't really relax yourself. You arrive home and enter the house.
ただいま。
You call out to your mother, but there is no response in the house, so you decided to take a look around. Yet you will come to realize that every door is locked, and there is a lot of boxes all around the house. As it seems, we only just moved to this new house, and this is also the reason we were struggling so much to find it. Going on with your search, you decide to open a door upstairs, when suddenly a door downstairs just opened up. Nervously you step down while calling for your mother.
お母さん？
Yet when you enter the room the sounds came from, there seems to be no one around. Freaked out, you explore the rest of the house to make sure there's no one there. The living and dining rooms are empty, and every corridor is just as you left it, all until a stray cat? At first you calm down, but you don't remember owning a cat. Could it be that it sneaked in while you entered the house? Trying to calm down, you take a deep breath and keep searching for your mother. While you take a look at the things inside, the game also gives you a few hints to your character. We found out that mother's health doesn't seem to be the best, and that our life in general is not that happy. Well, no trace of mom. Maybe you should just go to bed. Aggressive banging is coming from upstairs. You enter your room, but there's no one inside. Even checking every other corner, it seems like nothing is here, so I guess you might as well take a nap.
暗くなったな。
You wake up in the middle of the night, and a tense feeling won't leave your gut, so you can't really seem to find any sleep. You decide to grab something in the kitchen, and for a brief moment, you could swear there was someone moving. Was it Mother? You enter the kitchen and the whole room is flipped upside down. In the closet you find a number. Odd. Roaming the house you will actually find a lot of numbers gathered around. These numbers can be used to unlock a box in your mother's bedroom. Inside is a bank statement of your mother being in debt.
これって借金ってこと？
When suddenly, the once locked door downstairs is now wide open. You walk inside, and you see your mother who took her own life. This moment shocks you. This whole time you were convinced something supernatural was going on. Yet paranoia and now a shocking realization struck you like lightning. Lying on the sink is your mother's final words, and while reading it, you pass out. The game throws you back in 4 hours later, and you seem to be in a dark forest. The environment is as creepy as it gets, and there is a pure silence rolling the place. You encounter an old shrine that really came down to time. On the entrance is a chair and a rope. Shivers all along your body, yet your only option right now is... That was Okaeri, and while it is relatively short, keep in mind that it's the first game of the studio, so you will find out that the quality of the stories will increase through the video. What this game perfectly captures is how the developers managed to turn a seemingly okay situation into this terrifying horror experience. It uses dramatic irony, or rather the player knowing there's someone in the house while the protagonist has no real clue about it, perfectly, and twists everything. This twist and no holding back on certain topics is what makes this game and the next game we're about to cover even more worth mentioning.
Here, this is your punishment. You are going to go on a little exploration. It's gonna be a lot of fun. This is what you get for being close to him.
You play as another schoolgirl who got bullied by her colleagues and is now forced to explore an abandoned school. You are met with this blue environment with heavy rain pouring from the sky. While the main door is closed off, it seems like you need to find another way to enter. While roaming around, you will realize that your character may also be holding a camera by the way the game captures your movement. Entering from the back door, you are met with a really worn-off environment, yet there seems to be light still around. On the bathroom you find a voice recorder someone left there.
Well, if it isn't the rumor handsome transfer student. 1 week in and you're already the talk of the school. So can you tell me what happened to you? Not the most talkative, are you? Well, I knew that. I can probably guess that Kobayashi and his group got to you. I bought a mini tape recorder, and if you, their new target, can get evidence of what they do to you, the principal will have no choice but to act.
Weird that someone placed it perfectly here for you, but I guess it's your chance to finally get accepted at school. You find an old key in one of the toilets. All around the room you entered are missing girl posters, already a bad omen. You unlock the main door and are met with a really thin corridor. To this point, your objective here is not really clear, but from a gameplay perspective, you can already tell that there will be a chasing mechanic by realizing that there is an option to hide. Continue walking and you will encounter a door, or character expresses that it seems to be held shut by a dark entity. Yet we continue walking. Somewhere along you get your hands on a crowbar and a lighter. You get the boards down from the shut vent and enter to go onto the other side of the school. Somewhere in this eerie maze you find a second recorder. It seems to be the same person talking from before, and he's giving you instructions on how to record. Yet another student seems to be talking now in the dialogue, and she expresses that it's her first and last recording to make on this device. Moving on, you encounter a centipede-like creature in the vent. Escaping it, you end up in a jail cell. Just as you wanted to leave, a tall entity rushes down the hallway. Now from this point on, there is different ways on how you can play the game. You could just escape and get the bad ending of the game, or you can face the entity called Manto and get the good ending of the game. It's easier said than done though, because there is a lot of items you need to gather before eventually killing the spirit with a katana. And trust me, it's a really long and complicated process. There are a lot of papers you need to find, and for many, a lot of other things you need to do, like turning on the power, and I really struggle to even get 3 papers, because there's just no save here. If you die, you gotta start over again from the beginning. It's just really unforgiving. But why is it one of the better games in the franchise then? Unlike Okaeri, Manto is a free-roam survival horror. The environment has a perfect horror design by the way they made the corridors. So every encounter with a spirit is just panic-inducing. Also, the moment the spirit finds you, there is the scream and screen shake you are met with. On a different kind of way to Okaeri, this game manages to do the thing I hate the most about horror games, even more terrifying: chasing. It is really interesting to play, but unless you want to develop Stockholm Syndrome, I just hope you know what you're getting yourself into. Now to my favorite game in the franchise, the closing shift. The game starts you in your tiny apartment, or rather a typical Japanese apartment as you may already know it. You express that you are already late to work, so you run out. As you walk down the stairs, there is a song that is playing in the distance. It is where you find a phone on the ground, but no one is in close sight. You pick it up and continue walking, not thinking about it much due to the large amount of people living here. Yet, this is what creeps the player out the most, because even though there are giant complexes around you, there is not a single person here. Well, all until one person. As you approach him, he seems rather unfriendly, and he just takes the phone from you. You shake this all off and go inside your car to get to work. Welcome to Chillas Coffee, a place you will know every inch of once you really start your shift. You enter the store and then instantly run to your boss in the back office. He tells you that you're late and that you messed up a few orders before. Also, he informs you to put away your phone in the locker during work hours. Then he leaves and you're completely alone. You learn the mechanics of the game, and just by playing it, you could start working at a Starbucks coffee tomorrow. Order by order, you get more knowledge on the complex systems used for the different products, but you get the hang of it. Making your first order, you get to know your surroundings besides the coffee machine. For example, the camera monitoring system. Another customer then enters and says, "Did you hear the news? I heard stalker cases are on the rise." You continue the conversation on how scary this all is, but the player gets the foreshadowing already. There you have the premise, a girl working alone at a coffee shop, and most of the time you're just lonely. As the shift goes on, there are different customers to serve. A few you remember really good is a group of students, where one noticed a certain sound coming from outside, but the others seemed to ignore it. The other one is a private investigator, who says there have been numerous reports of people being harassed. He also says you should call him if you notice anything suspicious. Now, many people noticing something weird, and besides that, an environment where there's windows all around you, well, you could get the feeling that someone or something is watching you the whole time. You close your first shift and sweep the floors in pure silence, all until the power went out. This damn breaker. But as you turn the power back on, you realize that there's a carton of spilled milk in the back room. You can't really explain where it comes from, but you put the mess aside and you leave, ending the first night of the game. The next game starts pretty much the same. You wake up and go to work. The way to your car is pretty silent and there doesn't seem to be much happening. That is all until you notice a van parked on the other side. It's empty, so there isn't much for you to do here. So you head to work. You speak to your boss and he leaves as the asshole he is. Your first customer is an old man who has been living in Japan for more than 15 years. Yet it is the next thing he's about to say that really gets you thinking.
Hey yo, something isn't right about this place. Maybe because of the guy over here.
But there seems to be no one around. Maybe his imagination? The next customer is a bit weirder. Besides the fact that he orders without saying a single word, he just keeps constant eye contact with you. The next customer that comes in instantly calls you cute. In the background you can see the creepy guy leaving but still watching you closely. The young man then asks for your phone number and just doesn't want to leave, but you give him a fake one, so he sits down to the table closest to you, after eventually leaving. That's pretty much the end of shift 2, yet if you are to look outside the window, you will see a van driving around the shop, really slowly. While cleaning up, you find something strange. A photo of you while you were working, taken just outside the window. Remembering it was a place that the odd guy was sitting, you guess you got your stalker, and the sense that the other customers were always reporting something odd going on. The third shift is nothing much out of the ordinary. Yeah, a few weird customers here and there, but all in all, you do a good job and close early. You need to bust the tables before leaving, yet before you do that, you head back and the back door is open. But you didn't use it. How did it come? Yet it seems there is no one outside. You finish up and start hearing an electrical sound. There is a man standing outside, looking directly in the camera. You look in horror and unsure on how to act, completely alone. You decide to confront him, but when you leave, he is gone. All that's left behind is a note on the drive-thru.
The day we first met, yes, at Chillas. She smiled at me like a flower. Just thinking about her makes my heart pound. I've never felt this way before. I wonder if she's putting a smile on everyone's face like she does to mine.
The fourth shift starts from the perspective of the stalker. We can see multiple photos and milk on the table, referring to the spilled milk we found before. Then the doorbell rings, and you found a note. It's from the stalker. He informs you that he only wants the best for you. We also get to find out that it's the same guy we met from the beginning of the game, the one who lost his phone.
She talked to me. She picked up my phone and went on her own way to give it to me. I know she felt the same way as I did. We are in love. Today is our anniversary.
You leave your apartment and it seems to be snowing. Even though the atmosphere itself is rather cozy, in this moment you try to rush to your car. But upon starting you realize something is wrong. This forces you to take the bus. Really the last thing you want while someone is stalking you. You also remember a customer yesterday saying something about a strange man in the bus. You enter the bus and everything seems to be alright. Well, all until the person in front of you turns around in a terrifying way. In this moment, you can hear your own heartbeat, and you can just imagine the stress the girl is induced with. You try to look away, but so many things go through your mind. Is he working alone, or are there more people into this? You start your shift and realize there is a man sitting in front of you, but there's something odd about him. Something familiar. May he be the same person from last night's camera footage? And the guy who lost his phone at the start of the game. This is him. This is the stalker. You know it's him. Despite this, you still have to work. A few customers will maybe keep him away from dumb thoughts or jumping you while you work. While you're serving, the freak just walks out. The shift ends and you close the store. Not again. The worst possible time. A timer starts and burglars appear, all while you serve them drinks. When the timer runs out, you are done. You walk out to the back room and I guess it was all a dream. But hopefully the last day of the week is gonna be better than the eerie dream. The last day of the week starts from the perspective of the stalker again. He's staring all until you wake up in your apartment. You make your way to your car with the same van still being there. You enter the shop and your boss is nowhere to find. Makes you wonder where he might be. The investigator from the first shift then arrives and says his suspicions were right. The police won't help you, so he will. He's taking a look around the building. The first customer enters and instantly mentions someone taking pictures outside. But thankfully the investigator is here. You calm down because this all might be settled by tonight. The next customer informs you on someone being on the roof, but you say it's probably the investigator looking around. You take a ladder, but just in case, you take a ladder and climb to the roof to check for yourself. Seems pretty empty. Well, except for a hatch. He has been living here. It's the room you saw in the cutscene earlier. He has been living here. Panic consumes you. You rush out to do the last task so you can just leave as soon as possible. You turn the sign and then... The stalker tries to get in, but the door is locked. You feel such fear that you just want to get a phone. Yet it doesn't work. Not thinking everything through, you rush out to your car until... The unease that the closing shift got me feel is something a game hasn't done in a long time. The build-up with the investigator and customers from the first night to the security camera and stalker entering the building, it all just gives this certain kind of tension where you know something is gonna happen but you just don't know when and how. The delusion of the stalker induces a unique kind of fear to the player, not knowing what this person may do next. The game also addresses a big issue many women fear during their lifetime: stalkers. And the problem when it comes to getting help, or rather getting rid of them, when no one really can be around 24/7 to help you. For the last two games of the video, I really had a rough time to decide. You see, if you take a look at the game list, there is a few I really like. The convenience store, for example, is amazing, but I rather find it similar to the closing shift, so I decided just to mention it briefly. Then there's Parasocial, which also explores a stalker, or rather group of people stalking a famous streamer, with many Easter eggs from previous games. Yet this game also didn't find a spot that itched inside of me. That left me to 40 games I will consider mentioning: The Bathhouse, The Kidnap, Night Security, and Okaeri, which is the newest game out yet. The problem I stumbled upon while going through the games is that Okaeri is a really long game. Not like the others in the franchise, so I decided if this video pops off, I might do a single one diving deep into Okaeri. So for the rest of the video, we will be going over the Bathhouse and Night Security. I decided not to cover up the Kidnap because I think even though the story is great, there is a stalker element to it, while the other games cover different horror styles and stories. Before we start though, please like the video if you enjoyed so far, and sub to the channel for more content like this. Now let me introduce to you the Bathhouse. I received a message from the facility. It's from someone who knows me. They're asking me to come work at a bathhouse. They also said that I can live at an apartment that they own. It seems like the bathhouse is located in the countryside. I feel like I don't fit well in this whole city life. Maybe I should go. It was raining heavily that day. You were outside and just wanted to get to your apartment as quickly as possible. You find yourself in this kind of gloomy environment with nothing but the sound of rain in the distance. And what seems to be a monkey. The whole area is empty with not a single soul around. similar to the Chillas coffee situation. It's many buildings, but no one you can actually really talk to. Eventually, you find a woman crouching down on her knees, but it doesn't seem like she wants to talk. Same goes for this guy you see near your apartment. You go up the stairs and... seems like it's locked. Maybe you should walk to your landlord. Wait, was he? You're Marina's son, right? Welcome. Thank you for coming. The bathhouse is right across the apartment. Your room will be 202. It's a bit old, but the interior is nice. You were 24 years old, right? You inform him that you're 23, but you will soon turn 24, in 3 days to be exact. Alright then, this is your room key. When you're ready, come to the bathhouse. Kind of weird guy. You enter your room and it really seems old. The walls are falling apart, the floor is covered in stains, and the furniture is, well, also not the newest. Yet you notice scratch marks on the floor. Seems like someone pushed the closet to the side. A hole. Eerie, but perhaps another room? Maybe even the room next door? Well, you don't really seem to see anything out of it. None of your business, after all. You take out the trash and then make your way to your first day of the job. It is here where you receive an instruction for the job. You will have to greet customers, put things they want in a basket, and take care of the boiler room, so the water stays warm. At the end of each day, you will also have to clean the place up. Any customers that disobey with the rules written on the board at the entrance will have to leave, and it's your job to tell them so. Alright, let's start. You serve the first few customers and then check the building to see if everything is alright. You throw out the guy for touching another guy and then proceed to check the temperature on the boiler room. Back to the counter.
My name is Ray. By the way, where do you live? You don't need to answer that. I'm a genius. I can figure it out myself. It's an apartment close by, right? Oh, I'm correct. I might visit you sometime.
You already get shivers down your spine and a little foreshadowing. Could it be a stalker that is after you again? Your boss informs you that you did a good job and that you can go home after cleaning up. If you want, you can also take a bath yourself. You proceed to start with a little boy? Perhaps you missed him while closing down the place. He will find his way out, I guess. You empty the water and clean up everything when suddenly a woman speaks out to you from the other side. You inform her that the bathhouse is closed, yet she says she's employed here. She asks you to bring her a bucket, which you do. Before you start your bath, you take a quick shower. Was that? Probably just your imagination. No, that has to be. What is a monkey doing here? My good God. What happened here? Waking up, you realize the closet being pushed back. You once again decide to take a look on the other side, as empty as it was, even though it seems like someone ate inside and left it on the table. Your boss informs you that the pale man from yesterday probably was really drunk and that it happens often here. Monkeys are also everywhere, so he calms you down by saying everything you've seen is normal. Yet you can't really believe it. Your boss also mentions that a good friend of his is visiting today and that you should take care of that. To be honest, it's not much that happens here, except for that special customer that asks you to scrub his back, where you accept even though you wouldn't usually. He asks you why you're working here, to which you say that you know the owner. He then says some bad things about the owner and that he insists on you working for his company. You politely deny. Then he stands up angry and attacks you, saying he could force you to sit on his lap if you wanted to. What? He left without saying a word, and how did his nose? While closing the place, you take a look around this time, so there isn't something hiding like last time.
So scary. It has to be that kid spirit. That kid was killed. You've got it wrong.
Again, your boss said he's glad he hired you. He asked about his friend, but you said that he was weird and left without a word. You go to check the temperature for a last time today when... Where the woman stood in front of you, you find a bracelet. Did she leave it here? In the boiler room? What happened here? Happening again? I'll fix it. Go take a bath in the meantime. While in your bath, the woman from yesterday talks out to you. Huh? Yes, I'm here. The woman just keeps repeating herself, with the duck getting darker and darker each time you show it. Until... The next day, the room across is full with wire, yet still there is no one around. Your landlord then comes around for a little talk. You tell him what you've seen and heard yesterday. He again tells you that it's completely normal and spirits appear when no one is around. You should visit a nearby shrine, and maybe a priest can help you. On one side, he tries to help you, but on the other, he gaslights you that everything is fine, even though you know there's something wrong. You take the quickest way to the shrine, and... You're the Bathhouse new hire. Have we met before? Do I look like someone you know? Perhaps. He further asks if we need help, and we insist that something is wrong with the bathhouse. He says it's nothing new for him, and he sends an evil rat around us. We get a blessing and an amulet along the way as a form of protection. Then we start our shift as usual. Seems like the protections work because it's not much happening here. To finish off the day, we decide to go into the sauna instead of taking a bath like we usually do. Much better. Shocked as you are, you walk out and run home.
Hey, answer my quiz. First question. What human organ resembles a sweet potato? That's right. Moving on to question number 2. Which one can you eat without dying? Third question. Which fruit grows a sprout? Fourth question. One day a young girl came to the village. The girl was very pretty and quickly became popular. A certain man noticed the girl. He decided to have her work at his business. But then the girl got stolen from him by another guy. So what did the man do to the girl? I wonder which do you prefer? Last question. What is going to happen to you? I see. The fun is over now.
In the sweet potatoes, you find a chip with the number 3 on it. You can use this in the bathhouse to obtain a puzzle piece. Through the bathhouse, you can also find more of these to open the lockers, with number 4 being near the jukebox. You get your hands to the apartment 201 and decide to look inside. The landlord's diary. It seems to be about a woman named Yoko. He hired her and they fell in love, or from reading it rather seems as Yoko perhaps didn't share the same feelings, because guys kept getting between them. He decided to lock her in the basement so no one can look at her again except for him. He kind of forgot about her and she died, but she was pregnant without him knowing who the father was. After that, the hauntings in the bathhouse started happening, and it seems like Yoko is after the landlord. The entity in the bathhouse is known as a ubume, and nothing seems to help, so he took matters into his own hands. Reading that, you realize what is going on, but it isn't really a reason for you to calm down. You need to get out of this place, as quickly as possible and without him noticing. You get back to the bathhouse and decide to look a little sharper for hidden rooms, to where he might have locked Yoko away. Yet in the boiler room you realize a door that is blocked off. Jackpot. Your feet are shaking. You see on which circumstances this woman was locked away. Inside the pillow you find a message. Yoko really did everything to save her child. You came. The woman who died here, her name was Yoko. The child of Yoko just came back to this village. You have grown so much. Irina, it was you. It was you all along. It was the reason why he hired you. You were the child of Yoko, and it had a reason why he called you before your 24th birthday. He wanted to cure the curse, with you as the sacrifice. You try to return to the bathhouse and stay as distant to the landlord as possible, using every situation to get away while the priest takes care of the rest. You try to finish up your shift, but things start to get weird. You run to your apartment and hear the landlord trying to get in, but right now you feel like he's the least of your worries. Or is he? And that, ladies and gentlemen, was the bathhouse. Now do keep in mind that there is a lot of optional scenes here that are easy to miss, like finding the key to room 201, where you read the diary of the landlord. But even without these optional scenes, I feel like the game covers another kind of horror we've seen so far. The fear of the unknown in terms of not really knowing who the main threat is right now. The landlord or the spirit. Also, the player is just shown into all of this with no big explanation to anything. You really have to piece it together for yourself to understand everything. I think the plot twist in this game really enhances the vibes of the supernatural horror thematic. In the end, the landlord breaks the curse by killing the daughter of Yoko on her 24th birthday. But let me just tell you that there is a second ending, or good ending. I will just briefly show it to you what it looks like, because the video is probably already too long. Finally, let's dive into today's last game. You wake up in the middle of the night. You take your first steps, and as it seems, it's heavily raining. From the aesthetics of the place, we seem to have a family. Not just that, but from various things from the calendar to the fridge, it seems like to be our son's birthday. But it's not the reason you woke up so late. It's time to get to work, so you jump into your car and drive. A silent night. Arriving, you get a note on what to do. You need to check the fire alarms in the back of the rooms, lock the doors, turn off lights in the bathrooms, and send people home if they should be present. Also next to it is another note that says the last security guard didn't contact anybody and just quit. Also info you should check the clock and monitors before you make your rounds, out of safety reasons of course. Alright, let's get to it. The monitor seems to look good, but just from stepping outside you can already hear people in the building. You start checking the rooms and lock the doors behind you. Pretty fast you encounter the first employee who didn't leave on time, so you send him home. You finish the first floor and call up the elevator to get to the next one. As it seems, there's 11 floors in total. Not much that happens here. Again, a few people you send home, but in general, it's the usual job. Seems like floor 3 is also... I guess we'll ignore that. Must have been the wind. They should probably get that checked too. Just like the printer. The lights seem to be flickering here. You find one employee and send him home. Afterwards you check for more people until... You could have sworn there was someone behind that door, but you just locked it. What is going on here? On floor 5 the electricity is completely out, so you gotta go to the fuse box. But it seems like a fuse is missing. You don't seem to remember this room. It's almost like it's not part of the building at all. After a long walk you find the fuse, so you return back. Before moving to room 6 you check the cameras, and as it seems there's 2 persons talking. Not just that there is blood on that door, but someone seems to be watching you while you use the cameras. Yet while leaving the room there is no one around. You need to finish this as fastly as possible and leave ASAP. Oh my. The cleaning lady seems in shock with a pale face, and in front of her is a lot of blood. A jazzy music is playing, totally unrelated to the things going on here. You quickly close all doors, and... Seven seems to really came down to time. The walls are falling apart. A lot of the rooms seem to be filled with these devious looking dolls. In one of the rooms stays a pair of stairs you decide to take. And just in the corner of your eye you can see feet at the entrance of the door. Yet while descending there seems to be no one around, so you climb back up. Oh my, I guess we got what we came for. 8 and 9 are both really messed up and give a bloody vibe, but except for a few scares, it's nothing much that happens here. Though we find a key to the emergency exit on floor 9, so it seems like we do have an exit option now. A tall, pale lady stands in front of you. You enter a room that's completely upside down, and finishing and locking up the last door, you leave floor 10. What is... You walk around the bloody rooms of the last floor. Seems like we've found the last security guard, huh? Hell, what is going on in this place? You briefly manage to escape and find yourself in a hospital bed. Just on the corner of the room behind your family you see... Now, night security really shows up this liminal spaces vibe in a unique way. Again, we have a supernatural threat in the form of a spirit haunting the place. This time though, I find the design of the entity a lot better than in the previous games. Not just that, but the parts where you're forced to walk into the creature or just interact in some form of way. It's very scary and catch me off guard. It's just a good horror experience with tense energy the whole time. I think Chilla does really good is just putting some of these things like the dead security guard in random places, so if you look properly, you will encounter them. Otherwise, you will just miss it, but it won't ruin your experience of the game. In general, I can tell that if you like horror games, there is certainly room for Chillas. No matter what kind of games you're looking for or want to try out, from real-life events to supernatural elements, I'm sure you will find your cup of tea. Even the games that I just briefly managed to mention are titles worth playing. Missing Children that seems like a supernatural kidnapping but turns out to be something completely else, or Shinkansen Zero where you walk through the Japanese Shinkansen and stuff around you seems to oddly change. Now, while I'm at it, I might as well just do a tier list on the mentioned games. And starting with Okaeri, I know it's the first game from Chillas, but still from a gameplay perspective I would put it a bit lower with regards to it being the first one. So in my opinion, I think it's kind of a C tier. Manto is a really cool game with a unique map design and a cool story, but the point that gets me frustrated in the gameplay, if you look at it from pure gameplay perspective, it's pure torture. And to really finish the game, you must have a finished degree in ghost hunting. So considering all the facts, I will put it in B tier. I still think it's better than Okaeri because there's just more to it, even though like you might develop Stockholm Syndrome while playing it. But there's always something lurking around. I don't know, there was just something nice about this game. My favorite game, The Closing Shift, has to be in the S tier. I think it's a game where you just feel so much comfort by playing it. You have this horror element like lurking around, offering multiple endings, and a problem that is often ignored in modern society, where the game really stands out for itself. If there is a single Chillas Art game that deserves the S tier, it should be The Closing Shift in my opinion. The Bathhouse is a solid A tier. I ain't gonna even complain about that. Like, it has to be an A tier. You got the plot twist at the end. It's just eerie, unique environments. To be honest, this was the first game that got me into Japanese bathhouses. I didn't even know that was a big thing there. The part where the ghost lady is not unique by itself, but it still tried to be represented in a unique way. And it didn't quite hit the spot I was searching for, yet they represented it on such a unique way that I still think this game is awesome. And just from the atmosphere and stuff going on, I think you will have a lot of fun gameplay-wise playing that game. Lastly, night security. Look, I know you fellas might attack me for this, but I think this game was really cool. From a gameplay perspective, I would say it's low S tier to high A tier. The entity is amazing, the places where it pops out and disappears are amazing. The chasing mechanic was good. It was not like Manto, it was a lot better. Also, you don't need an engineering degree to finish the game, which is pretty strong. And to some degree, the story is relatable. If I was a security guard working in a 12 floor building, and even if there was not a single trace of a ghost nearby, I would still feel an eerie sensation, because that's just how our brains work. We love imagining things that aren't around there and at the worst possible times. Again, thank you guys for watching the video, and if you liked it, comment down below. Love you all, and until next week.